Okay, so I was gonna get back into this. Um, the Aquarian Gospel. Oh, so I was looking at these things, and when I was looking at this picture of Quetzalcoatl, okay, Christ, okay, this is the same thing. Come to think of it, that the Sphinx is. Okay, these things, even though they are stone, they are living images. Okay, like I think the Sphinx, they called it a living image. Okay, like you are a living image of God. Okay, so I just had that there. It just crossed my mind. I was thinking about it. Um, so back in this book. Try to get to where I left off. Okay, so this is an extremely long book. It looks like, which I don't have full access to. But man, would I eventually love to get my hands on it. Okay, so I believe we finished off in chapter 4. And so we'll start with chapter 5 here. Um the three Magian priests honor Christ. Herod is alarmed, calls the council of the Jews. It is told that prophets had foretold the coming of a king. Herod resolves to kill the child. Mary and Joseph take Jesus and flee into Egypt. So beyond the river of the Euphrates, the Magians lived. They were wise and could read the language of the stars. they divine that one, a master soul was born, and they saw his star above Jerusalem. So I don't know where it is exactly in Numbers, but it talks about this star and the son of the star. Okay. So there were three among the Magian priests who longed to see the master of the coming age, and they took costly gifts, hastened to the west in search of him, the newborn king, that they might honor him. One took gold, the symbol of nobility, another myrrh, a symbol of dominion and power, and Gumthis, the other, took the symbol of the wisdom of the sage. Okay, so if you don't know about Christ's star, the I guess we would call the parallel to that would be Esther. Okay, so when they had asked, "Where's the child that had been born a king?" the very throne of Herod seemed to shake. Herod sent a courtier forth to bring the Magians to his court. When they had came, they asked again, "Where is the newborn king?" And when they had said, "While yet beyond the Euphrates we saw his star arise, we have come to honor him," Herod blanched with fear. He thought perhaps the priests were plotting to restore the kingdom of the Jews. So he said within himself, "I will know more about this child that has been born a king." So he told the Magian priests to tarry in the city for a while, and he would tell them all about the king. He called in council all the Jewish masters of the law and asked, "What have the Jewish prophets said concerning such a one?" The Jewish masters answered him and said, "The prophets long ago foretold that one would come to rule the tribes of Israel, that this Messiah would be born in Bethlehem." They said, "Oh, the prophet Micah wrote, O Bethlehem, Judea, a little place among the Judean hills, yet out of you shall come forth to rule my people Israel, everyone who lived in the olden times in very ancient days." Herod called the Magian priests, told them what the masters of the Jewish law had said, and he sent them on the way to Bethlehem. He said, "Go, search. If you find a child that has been born a king, run and tell me all, that I may go and honor him." So Herod is the equivalent of what you would call the dragon. Okay. The Magian priests went their way and found the child with Mary in the shepherd's home. They honored him, bestowed upon him precious gifts, gave him gold, gumthis, and myrrh. So these Magian priests could read the hearts of men. They read the wickedness of Herod's heart and knew that he had sworn to kill the newborn king. So they had told the secret to the parents of the child and bid him to flee beyond the reach of harm. When the priests went on their homeward way, they went not through Jerusalem. Joseph took the infant Jesus and his mother in the night and fled to Egypt land, and with Elihu and Salome in ancient Zoan they abode. Herod learns of the supposed mission of John. The infants of Bethlehem are massacred by Herod's order. Elizabeth escapes with John because Zacharias cannot tell where his son is hidden. He is murdered and Herod dies. So before we go on, I find this very, very strange with this whole coronavirus. And I don't know why I'm just not thinking of this to talk about it. At the beginning of this thing, they were putting baby thermometers on everybody's head. Okay? Baby thermometers. Like those little thermostats that read the temperature of the baby. So with the virus of the crown. So I'm just trying to figure out where this ties in with this. But and that sign of the cross on his forehead. See, that interested me too. So when the Magian priest did not return to tell him that the child had been born a king, King Herod was enraged. And this child being born a king, okay, is the same thing in Revelation 12 also. That she gave birth to a man child, okay, and he was immediately caught up to the throne of God. Okay, so when the Magians did not return to tell him of the king, Herod was enraged. Then of his courtiers told of him another child in Bethlehem, one to go before and to prepare the people to receive the king. This angered more and more the king. He called his guards and bid them to go to Bethlehem and slay the infant John as well as Jesus, who to be born a king. So if you don't know, okay, you're going to see this parallel. Where actually it was almost like John was the scapegoat for Christ. Christ was the scapegoat for all of us. Okay, so God has used scapegoats all throughout the Bible. And whenever John was decapitated, the Romans actually thought that Christ was the reincarnation of John. Okay? So, Elizabeth knew not that Herod sought to slay her son, but she and John were yet in Bethlehem. When she knew, she took the infant John, hastened to the hills. The murderous guards were there. They passed upon her hard. She knew the secret caves in all the hills. Into one she ran and hid herself and John until the guards were gone. Their cruel task was done. The guards returned and told the story to the king. They said, "We know that we have slain the infant king, but John, his harbinger, we could not find." The king was angry with his guards because they failed to slay the infant John. He sent them to the tower in chains. The other guards were sent to Zacharias, the father of the harbinger, while he was serving in the holy place, to say, "The king demands that you should tell, where is your son?" So it's interesting, these Romans, they know about John as well. So, I told you that some of the Knights Templars, they believed that John was the Messiah. Okay? So, Zacharias did not know. He replied, "I'm a minister of God, a servant in the holy place. How could I know where they have taken him?" And when the guards returned and told the king what Zacharias had said, he was enraged and said, "My guards, go back and tell that wily priest that he is in my hands, that if he does not tell the truth, does not reveal the hiding place of John his son, then he shall die." So the guards went back and told the priest just what the king had said, and Zacharias said, "I can give but my life for truth, and if the king does shed my blood, the Lord will save my soul." So he said something really interesting there. See, Zacharias is on top of things. Okay? I can but give my life for the truth. And if this king does shed my blood of my flesh, what's that mean? It doesn't mean nothing. Because the soul is what matters, and the Lord will save my soul. So Zacharias stood before the altar in the holy place, engaged in prayer. A guard approached with a dagger, thrust him through. He fell and died before the curtain of the sanctuary of the Lord. So he was right at the curtain. When an hour of salutation came, Zacharias daily blessed the priest. He did not come, and after waiting long, the priest went to the holy place and found the body of the dead. There was grief, deep grief in all the land. Herod sat upon his throne. He did not seem to move. His courtiers came, and the king was dead. His sons reigned in his stead. Okay, so Archelaus reigns now. Mary and Elizabeth and her sons are in Zoan. They're taught by Elihu. And Eliyahu is almost Elijah. So, the son of Herod, Archelaus, reigned in Jerusalem. He was a selfish, cruel king. He put to death all those who did not honor him. He called in council all the wisest men and asked about the infant claimant to his throne. The council said that John and Jesus both were dead, and he was satisfied. Now Joseph, Mary, and their son were down in Egypt in Zoan, and John was with his mother in the Judean hills. So Eliyahu, and Salome sent messengers in haste to find Elizabeth and John. They found them and brought them to Zoan. Mary and Elizabeth were marveling much because of their deliverance. And Eliyahu said, "It is not strange, there are no happenings. Law governs all events." So basically he's saying, if you're innocent, you're innocent. The law is cause and effect. Okay? From olden times, it was ordained that you should be with us in this sacred school, be taught. So they were in a certain school. I'd like to go to the school. You know what I mean? So he took the two women out to the sacred grove whereby they want to teach. Eliyahu said to Mary and Elizabeth, "You may esteem yourselves thrice blessed, for you are chosen mothers of long-promised sons, who are ordained to lay in solid rock a sure foundation stone, on which the temple of the perfect man shall rest, a temple that shall never be destroyed. We measure time by cycle, ages. To the gate of every age we deem a milestone in the journey of the race. In ages past, the gate onto another age flies open at the touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of God in man. In these, your sons will be the first to tell the news, to preach the gospel of goodwill to men and peace on earth. A mighty work is theirs, for carnal men want not the light. They love the dark, and when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not. We call these sons revealers of the light, but they must have the light before they can reveal the light. And you must teach your sons, set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, to make them conscious of their missions to the sons of men. Teach them that God and man were one, but through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man torn himself away from God, debased himself. Teach that the holy breath would make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. That naught can make them one but love. That God so loved the world that he's clothed his Son in flesh, that man may comprehend. The only Savior of the world is love. And Jesus, the Son of Mary, comes to manifest that love to men. Now, love cannot be manifested until it has a way has been prepared. Naught can rend the rocks and bring down the lofty hills and fill the valleys up, and thus prepare the way but purity. But purity in life men do not comprehend, and so it must come in flesh. And you, Elizabeth, are blessed because your Son is purity made flesh. He shall pave the way for love. This age will comprehend little of the works of purity and love, but not a word is lost. For in the book of God's remembrance, a registry is made of every thought, word, and deed. When the world is ready to receive, God will send a messenger to open up the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. Then every man of the earth will read the words of life in the language of his own native land, and men will see the light, walk in the light, and be the light. Men will again be one with God. We're at that time right now. So Eliyahu's lessons, the unity of life, the two selves, the devil, love, the savior of men, the David of the light, the Goliath of the dark. Again, Eliyahu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, no man lives unto himself, for every living thing is bound on the cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would have other men do unto them. You see, that's the thing. You know, I try to live a certain way towards people. And even though they don't act that certain way back towards me, I'm not affected by it, okay? I always tell people this. I never let anybody's opinion about me dictate the way that I feel, move, or act, okay? And there are a lot of people out there that love and don't demand love in return. But instead they get kind of stomped on. They get crapped on. They get, put aside, pushed aside, taken advantage of. But who's really winning there? Are you winning on me, or am I winning on you? But sometimes you can love people so much and not yourself. You can neglect your own needs while you're too busy focusing on the love for other people's needs. So there are two selves, the higher and the lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with the soul made in the form of God. The lower self is the carnal self, the body of desires. It is a reflection of the higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is God and man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right, and the lower self is what the higher self is not. Did you ever see that movie, This Is Us, by Jordan Peele, I believe his name is Jordan something, the guy from Key and Peele? Well, he made a really cool movie, and it was called This Is Us, and it was based upon Jeremiah 11, I believe. So it talks about, the higher and lower selves of our whole nature, our families, like, us, just whatever. And as we move into the fifth dimension, as we move into a new world, as we move into this new realm, this new plane, whatever you want to say it is, where justice, mercy, love, and peace rain down. All that lower nonsense that breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms, this stuff is at enmity with the harmony of the way things really are supposed to be. And that is why there's chaos. And that is why there's hatred. And that is why there's division. And that is why there's, just complete scatteredness. And that is why truth has become something that doesn't matter anymore to this particular world, lower world. Okay, it goes against the harmonies of real life, the way things that are supposed to spin and move and act and flow the way music is supposed to be played. And thank God for the 144,000 and the true light workers of God. They hold the keys and the harps and the palms and, the words and the actions that, make sweet music against that ruckus, you know? So our minds are poisoned. The things we want aren't really the things we need. The things we need aren't the things we want. And why do we do the things that we hate to do, even though we know they're not good for us? Oh, wretched man that I am, who could save me from this flesh? So he's basically telling these women to study themselves, to know thyself. So I'm trying to attain this level, to where I know myself. I've come to the realization of the illusion of this world. Things pass away. Okay, and the things of God, your treasure, where you lay it up, where you lay your heart, where your heart is. That's the true world and the true higher self. So I'll stop right there.